Hey, pizza people, welcome back. We've got some awesome tournament coverage for you today. Hamhocks and I do commentary on the top 8 of the PizzaBox Open Standard from June 26th. You can find all the information to our content and all the deck lists below in the description, and I hope that you enjoy the video.
All right, so here we go. And so this is going to be Selesnya Angel versus Selesnya Humans. Other than that, it looks like we have Azorius Auras represented, Golgari Food, Bant Angels, another Selesnya Humans list, and a Sultai Control. So it looks like we have a pretty diverse metagame with actually a lot of Azorius. Well, I mean, frankly, like white is very strongly represented. The color, the magic color white is very strongly represented here. So we're going to see yeah, a lot of good stuff there. And JP with a pretty solid opening hand of 2 lands, Esper Sentinel, Thraben Inspector, and good old Thalia, which in this match isn't necessarily too impactful because the Selesnya Angel list does have some spells. Like March of the Really Light, Faithful Absence, a one of Settle the Wreckage that you got to be aware of, and of course a 4 of Collected Company. So taxing that Coco could be really meaningful. But otherwise, Thalia is not going to make a huge difference. But being able to start with an Esper Sentinel, lead into a Thraben Inspector, you could do a whole heck of a lot worse than that. And I got to say, if JP is able to draw into the land to get the Inquisitor Captain and or Collected Company online, they're going to be looking pretty sweet. All right, they lead off with the Thraben Inspector. Nothing wrong with that. Kikiolo starting with the Speaker of the Heavens, possibly one of the strongest turn 1s in that deck. Thraben Inspector crashing in, that 2 toughness being pretty relevant here. JP ending the turn with outplaying the Esper Sentinel. Okay. And Kikiolo is going to be playing out a Bishop of Wings. Talk about a really great option here. Now, notably, the Esper Sentinel is human, despite looking primarily like a machine. And it could have gotten a counter from the Thalia's Lieutenant there had it been on the battlefield. So that's potentially an issue. Oh, Resplendent Angel plus Bishop of Wings. My goodness. This is just a 1, 2, 3. This was the dream curve for the Angel deck. Now, they did attack in with the Speaker of the Heavens, which is interesting. Here comes Thalia, and unfortunately, JP just has not seen another land. That is a huge
This is kind of like a
problem.
bad matchup, though, for them either way because it's Angels, so they're facing down someone who's just going to be gaining tons of life and
Absolutely.
also making like a huge whiteboard just like they do. This really just comes down to like who's on the play and how aggressive one person's start is from the other.
Yep. Well, and being in a situation like that where the Bishop of Wings, the Resplendent Angel, and then Giada all of a sudden into the fray while you're still stuck on 2 lands, yeah, I think that was a justified scoop. Absolutely. Because, I mean, those Cocos were a mile away, and even those probably wouldn't. I mean, they would have helped a little, but not enough. Yeah, and I mean, and you're right. I mean, this is a tough matchup, and we're kind of seeing it here. Like, what do you sideboard? Because the Angels are all just going to be bigger. There's going to be a ton of life gain. I mean, I don't know how to sideboard here. That's a tricky proposition. All right, but here we go. Well,
Oh, this is just a bad hand for
oh
them.
man, yeah.
Like
So they get
straight
all
up.
the lands or none of the lands. There's no in between.
Oh, I don't even
Oh, and they
you
keep
can't
a
really
one
keep
lander.
this. Oh
Oh no,
no.
I would have
Like
mulled the
you
5
kind of
here.
have to, but you kind of can at the same time, right? This is just going
Right.
to end up being like a really tough situation for them right now.
So they kept a good looking 2-lander in game 1. Didn't see another land for the rest of the game. Now they keep. I mean, they keep a rough looking 1-lander here. Kikyo starting off with the Bishop of Wings. Okay, there's a Plains. That's something. Something. Hopefully we see a Forest or a green mana source off the top here next. Because then if Adeline can drop on 3 all of a sudden, you can apply some pressure and maybe get started on something, but yeah, Youthful Valkyrie, the Bishop of Wings, just casually gaining you 4 life a pop every time an angel drops is, my goodness. All right, so let's see.
Do apologize,
Kiko's
chat. I know I'm not being as responsive right now, but we're just making sure we're taking care of some things here in the
no
background. I do
worries.
appreciate everybody who's here watching and hanging out with us. Hope you're all having a good time. Thanks, Hammer, for
Oh man, it's
being
my
here and
pleasure.
commentating with me. Really, really appreciate you.
It is absolutely my pleasure, my friend. Yeah. No, this is good stuff, and no worries at all. Take care of what you need to take care of. All right, so another Thali's Lieutenant can come down, buffing them both up. You know, turn them both into 2/2s. That's fine. Or no, turning the one into a 3/3. My apologies. Fine, but it's not adding to the board here. Also, that they could have played the Thalia there if Kikiolo is working up to a collected company, which is very possible here. Overgrown farmland coming in as the 4th land, and just main phase Coco. There it is. Because you're going to get some ETBs with these angels. Oh, and it's Giada and it's Speaker of the Heavens. Not the most powerful hit that Kikiolo could have hit there, but not bad. Getting a Giada online is a big deal. Now, that Giada does fit into a portable hole, which is handy. But at the same time, JP really wishes they had a 3rd land. Like, for some reason, they just can't seem to find their 3rd land. All right, looks like they're going after the Speaker of the Heavens because the Speaker of the Heavens can tap and just produce angel tokens, which could be a bit of an issue. So I think that's a fine choice. Definitely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and Giada does also have Vigilance. That's pretty nice. Oh, there's the Resplendent Angel.
That's
Whew.
it. That's just too
That's it.
much. I mean,
Yeah.
the problem is JP just mulliganed, right? Like, if they didn't mulligan
Right.
so much, they actually might have been able to have like a hyper aggressive start, considering that they were on the play. They even had the Adeline, which would have made their Thales lieutenants bigger. They would have had a wide board, so on and so forth. And unfortunately, they hit a land, but it comes even into play tap, so they're even more
Right.
kind of screwed on that one. Unfortunately, they just got the bad end of the draw 2 games in a row there, honestly. And we're coming in
Well,
right now, and it looks like Mertcan is in somewhat a control of this game. The main issue that I have right now with them is that they don't have any other cards in their hand. So they're kind of almost forced to put this Luris in their hand and then use that for kind of like some card advantage here later in the game.
yep. I was thinking
And
the same thing. I mean, they have the Curious Possession and the Light Pause can provide card advantage, so that wasn't bad, but that Fatal Push really sets them back. Yeah, the Fatal Push definitely sets them back. But here comes Sentinel's Eyes. They're going to escape that. Put it on the Esper Sentinel. Now all every non-creature spell that LDS plays here is going to be, you're going to get the option to pay 3 or draw a card, or is it second spell each turn? I should probably, I should know that
let's
offhand.
see.
Esper Sentinel, whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, there it is.
Okay.
Draw a card unless they pay X.
Oh, they took it with the Archmage's
Ooh.
Charm, so they can't block. Oh, I think you kind of have to witness. Oh, even if you witness protection, the creature's still going to draw you a card, right? Because it
Yeah,
still
witness
has that line
protection.
of text from the enchantment. The enchantment's like kind of like the last thing that they're kind of like going by.
Yeah, so what would happen there is, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the spirit would become a 1/1, but all the enchantment effects would remain. So it would stay, it would effectively stay at 2/2, but it would be grounded. It would lose flying. That's something, but
Yeah, but the Esper Sentinel doesn't have first strike, so
right.
not really
Ooh.
doing anything crazy. Fatal Push does not give you a redraw here if they don't want to either. Oh, they're going to let them draw,
They're gonna
which
let him draw it, and it's a core spirit dancer.
I think that's kind of dangerous, right? I mean, you're going to... I think you play the core Spirit Dancer. Because then if they kill that... So you don't want to play the Luris into a removal spell, right? You'd rather core Spirit Dancer and then have them kill that. So that way your Luris just gets it back anyways. And core Spirit Dancer by itself is actually like a legitimate threat that's going to beat down and get really huge.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
they had
well.
a backup Archmage's Charm, so I think now you have to go for the Luris. You like actually
Right.
don't really have a choice.
Yeah, it's not fun, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you could jam Luris. Oh, actually, because of the... No, you could jam Luris and still cast out Esper Sentinel. That's not bad. And you can play Esper Sentinel, or you can put the Sentinel's Eyes on Luris.
All these are
Can we go
fine
4/3,
plays.
which,
I think
I mean,
you just make the
yeah,
Esper Sentinel though, right? Because you want to draw some more cards right now. You want to make sure
absolutely.
that the longer the game goes, you're just going to grind out your opponent in value. I mean, on top of that, Merkin actually already has 3 cards that they can cast on top of whatever Luris gives them access to. And it looked like that Growth Spiral only really got him a land, so EyLDS here is pretty much on the top deck. Bear in mind, this is also the first game.
Right. Well, and the other detail there that I think is noteworthy is all the glitters counts all enchantments and artifacts you have, and Esper Sentinel is an artifact creature, so it helps buff up all the glitters, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
So Core Spirit Dancer can come in here, and because of that card draw, this could get pretty nice. And they still have access to the Sentinel's Eyes. Storm Chaser Drake's pretty nice as well. Yeah, so they're going to escape the Sentinel's Eyes onto the Storm Chaser Drake, draw 2 cards, then one off the Core Spirit Dancer, one off the Storm Chaser Drake target.
You get to redraw a card too, which is nice. 2 cards actually because of Core Spirit Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Core Spirit Dancers is a May. It's like, I'm always going to want to draw that card,
right? Yeah. When do you
like,
say no? When do you
there's
say no?
never going to be a chance in the game where I'm going to say no to drawing a card. I don't even get it right now.
Well, the only
I
thing
guess if
about
I have
is
like
if
no
you're gonna
cards
mill
left in
out.
my library,
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. That's the only time I'm not gonna want to draw more than like a card, right?
Yeah, but I always like, you know, every time I see that kind of prompt, it's like, are you sure you want to do this really awesome thing? It's like,
Ooh, Shark
yeah.
Typhoon getting cycled, making a 5/5, killing this Luris as well. Wow, that was actually a huge play from EyLDS, and that actually gives them a huge chance in this game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, putting a 5/5 on the board is a big deal, and with that, I mean, Mertcan has a couple of auras. I have a feeling that's going to be a little bit legitimate business shark here before too long.
Yeah, and this the Selfless Savior is huge because it makes sure that your creatures are going to be protected now from any kind of other shenanigans like what just happened.
Right. Oh, and here comes Arcane Flight with the Cartouche of Knowledge in hand. So a couple members of this team could get lifted off here, and that Esper Sentinel with all the glitters is going to get, frankly, pretty darn huge. So there's some opportunities here. Gonna put the Arcane Flight on the Storm Chaser Drake to draw the additional card.
They also get another blocker off of the Cartouche, which is nice.
True. And another Selfless Savior. Nothing wrong with that.
Don't forget, everybody, check out all of our links in the chat. Would be greatly appreciated. We got YouTube. Check out all of our commentators as well. They did a great job today. Do appreciate everybody hanging out with us today as well. Anybody who played, thanks a lot.
100%. Could not echo that loudly enough.
Drop that one.
All right, here comes the Rafine's Guidance. Storm Chaser Drake getting absolutely huge. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, that Witness Protection is lethal. Well, or the Cartouche of Knowledge, that works too. Either of those. Because the Witness Protection could have gotten the Spirit Token on the ground and would have made the Storm Chaser Drake a lethal attack. Or they just lift off a second attacker. Perfectly fine either way.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that like this Aura deck can kind of grind out the Sultai Control deck. You would think that the Sultai Control deck has a really good chance against the Auras if they could just kill like 2 or 3 of their creatures. They're probably solid. On top of that, board wipes, things like that. But the Sultai Control list, so specifically the thing about it is it only has 2 main deck Extinction Events, main and a Maelstrom Pulse, which you could also potentially consider to be like a board wipe. In the sideboard, I believe that they're going to be bringing in these, we're watching the Auras deck, so in the sideboard of the Sultai, I would imagine they're going to bring in their Calling Rituals, that extra Languish, and let's take a look here. I think that's kind of it. You can make an argument for them wanting to bring in their Soul Guide Lanterns, but at the same time, like, you also have to make sure that you get through the early game of Auras before you're able to exile the cards out of their graveyard.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think actually that really speaks to the distribution in Mertcan's deck. Mertcan has so many creatures for a deck that functions primarily on enchantments. It's as actually we just coincidentally happen to see there 22 creatures in this deck. Because when you're going up against a control deck, if you have a whole bunch of enchantments in hand but no creatures on board, they're just dead draws. You can't do anything with them. And so by focusing on the creatures and having plenty of creatures, you can go 1-for-1 with removal with your opponent in the early game and still have more creatures to play out in the late game. And that's what we saw there. They had a couple more creatures to play out, and at the end of the day, they just needed 1 or 2 enchantments to get the ball rolling with that Storm Chaser Drake. Because with the Core Spirit Dancer and the Drake on the field, they were drawing 3 cards every single time they cast a an aura. And my goodness, they just completely refilled their hand and then mobilized those threats all in one turn. It was yeah, really cool to watch, and we'll see if they can do that again.
I like Merkin's hand here on the draw. They have access to the Spell Pierce on turn one. So that
Hmm.
way they ensure that, like, Growth Spiral, Thoughtseize, anything like that's pretty much going to get countered here. And then they're able to follow up with one of their threats, either the SRAM or the Core Spirit Dancer, and then kind of get their game plan going. And with this Esper
Absolutely.
Sentinel, it's even huge. It's bigger just because of the fact that the Sentinel can draw you a card and you can counter that non-creature spell, right?
Absolutely. I think if I were in Mertcan's situation there, I probably would have played the Esper Sentinel and kept Spell Pierce up.
Yeah, I'm
But at
really
the same
surprised
time,
they went in for the SRAM, right? The SRAM
mhm,
is definitely going to eat the Fatal Push here. There's a stop as well, it looks like, for eyelids. So I think eyelids is considering whether or not they want to snap that
yep,
off or snap
there
it
it
off
is.
later when they have aura. And I agree with you. I think the Esper Sentinel with the Spell Pierce might have ended up being better just because it ensures that you're going to draw and protect your card. And now you can still get like a Core Spirit Dancer down, which I like a lot. But doing the Esper Sentinel play now is not mana efficient, right?
Right. Yeah, there's going to be no matter what happens, even if you do get a good Spell Pierce target, um, yeah, you're going to leave one mana left over.
I think their lines of play I find very very interesting the way that they're taking this right now, and looks like they still are going to be able to get the draw card here. Oh, excuse me, their opponent paid for it, so yeah, I think that's risky
Yeah,
for them to not spell
yeah,
pierce that, right? Maybe, I mean, I know Merkin knows what they're doing, but I'm wondering about
right,
whether or not it was time to snap that spell pierce off because the longer the game goes, the worse it's going to get.
right,
And right now they have access to kill this target the core spirit dancer and probably pay for the spell pierce.
right. Yeah. Remember Deluge though, that's a
Um
fine Spell Pierce target.
yeah, that's not bad. I think the main problem I have right now is that they only have one creature and no real way to protect it.
Yeah.
If they had
No, you're
another way
right.
of
That's a
protecting
concern.
it, then they would be fine. But I think right now Merkin is, needle and thread, walking that fine line, with only one creature out and a handful of auras. On top of that,
Yeah.
they don't have the Lurrus either, and I mean, it's a good thing that Eyelids had to waste a full board wipe on
Yes.
one creature, but at the same time, all you really have now is Lurrus. Ooh, that was a really good draw though. Drawing that fifth land ensures that they're going to Lurrus and Core Spirit Dancer or the Saram out of their graveyard. So no matter what, they're going to get to have priority here and get to cast something for value.
Right. Well, also Island is probably going to be missing that language here, unless they have another one, of course. But there's Archmage's
Oh,
Charm.
Archmage's Charm. I'm just going to say no outright to any of those ideas. And it looks like Eyelids game right now. I mean, they're going to probably snap off this Deluge. Yep, there it is.
Yep. There it is.
That way they can make sure they don't get any counter spells or run into anything silly like a. Let's see, do they have Dovin's Veto on the sideboard? They only have one Dovin's Veto, so I guess that's, don't want to play into that either way.
Hmm.
And a Thoughtseize here, going to get rid of that All
Ouch.
His Glitters or the Cartouche. Cartouche probably a higher value card to take because it's going to draw some cards on the way down. Ooh, Gargaroth,
Ah,
not,
true.
not
Ooh,
looking good
there you
at all
go.
here for Mertkin.
Yep, Isla's definitely turning the corner here, making that's one of the things with control. You gotta you have to slow the game down early, of course, but then you also have to find a way to finish. And that Gargaroth is definitely going to do a fine job, I think.
Now this is huge though. These
Yeah,
draws that Merkin's getting are really big. This Light Pulse is actually going to be able to get another aura out of their deck, like that Curious Obsession potentially. I
yeah,
would consider something like that, or even the Valor. I believe the Valor makes a token, right?
yep, yeah. Makes a token when the creature dies, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. Yeah,
So you're still going to get some value there. And right now you're probably going to take the 6. You can, I guess, double block it and make it indestructible. It doesn't really do anything, and you don't want to lose both your
yeah,
threats. And now Eyelids is up to 3 cards, so they kind of have like a good chance here of sealing the game away, considering they have a clock, and they might
mm-hmm.
even have some answers in their hand, like counterspells, anything like that. I mean, if you're Merkin here, you love seeing the fact that they just played a land tapped. You're not
True,
really too happy about this Deluge. Maybe you're happy because they're main phasing it, but getting
right,
the dick for a couple cards is still pretty scary. The good thing
yeah,
is that Eyelids is taking their time, so maybe there's options.
right. Well, and being able to dig for 2 cards main phase and still have 4 mana up, I mean, this could be dangerous. And we saw one languish already. If there's another one, now would be a great time to pop it off. Culling Ritual.
Ooh, okay. Well, I mean,
Ouch.
they get to save the light pawns, so any aura that they draw could potentially make the light pawns bigger than the Gargaroth. Oh, never mind. Yeah, they lose all their cards. Ooh, that's
Yep.
actually really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. All those enchantments are all
Ooh,
gone.
business
Witness
person.
protection.
Here we go.
Yeah, witness protection is a sweet draw.
All right,
Turning
all
that
right.
Elder Gargaroth into a
Yeah, I think you do grab that
only
Curious
one
Obsession
one.
now. You want to draw some
Mm-hmm.
cards.
Oh,
And then
drawing
we're
cards is great.
gonna
Absolutely.
Sentinel's Eyes. We'll go get another aura. Ooh, let's see. Yeah,
Yes.
exile
You
whatever
gotta be
you
careful
want.
here.
Yeah, exile
Yeah.
whatever you want. Yeah, make sure you don't get rid of any of these creatures. And then, yep, go get this Rafine's
Well, all right.
Guidance. And that's a 5/5 Ham. It's a 5/5 that could draw you a
Wow.
card.
Man,
And
Merkin
this
had
Gargaroth's got a block.
So Merkin had a really solid turn by getting the light pause going, and then followed it up with that witness protection that was absolutely clutch. So they turned this game around really nicely. However, EyLDS just has
The
the
Extinction
board wipe.
event. And these Spell Pierce, like, even though these Spell Pierces are really great tempo plays, they're just going to keep getting worse as the game progresses. And as I stated earlier, I really think they should have snapped off one of the Spell Pierces for a removal spell to save a card, because you're forcing your opponent to have to deal with what you're doing, right?
Right.
And yeah, can't Spell Pierce that, unfortunately. They do have the mana for it. So right now, I think Merkin's just hoping to draw like a Core Spirit Dancer, Saram, anything that's essentially going to give them more card advantage and let them draw a lot of cards. Spell Pierce isn't really going to do anything. You don't really care if they take, you don't really care if they take it. You rather them lose the 2 life, if anything, at this point.
Exactly.
Another
Yeah,
Gargoyle's going to come down.
Yeah. Yeah, because countering it, the opponent just chooses not to pay for it. Thoughtseize goes away, your hand's still empty.
Yeah, they don't even have to pay the life.
They don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just no, that's fine. Counter it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And unfortunately, it looks like even though Merkin was in a really great spot, all of a sudden they're back in the same spot they were in before, where they don't have any threats. They're standing down a real creature on the other side of the battlefield, and yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really tough for Merkin to get out of this. Like I said, like they can take another 6 and go down to 2, and then hope to draw something good. But you also have to remember, EyLDS is drawing a lot more cards, and after they attack with the Gargaroth next turn, they're gonna be up to 6 cards.
Yeah.
And the Castle Vantress and the actually, that's just GG's with the Hall of the Storm Giants here. We'll see if EyLDS notices that their creature lane can attack. Considering the last event, I don't know if you saw me and Ziggy doing commentary, but there was like 3 instances of people missing out.
Oh no!
Attacking with their Hall of the Storm Giants for lethal.
We have all these creature lands. I mean, we're running them. Might as well use them, right?
Yeah, might as well use them. Why not? Kill them. Kill your opponent.
That's exactly what it's for.
So, do you think there's any changes here that Merkin really needs to make?
You know, I mean, maybe some more witness protection, but at the same time, the chances of hitting two Gargaroths like that. Hushbringer in this match doesn't really do anything.
I kind of like the Cartouche of Solidarity because it makes 2 threats. In a deck where your opponent is playing a lot of removal spells, even you just having 1 creature on the battlefield isn't bad, right?
Absolutely. No, I think that's solid. Yeah, you just need bodies. To get these auras going, you just need bodies on board. So, no, I think you're right. That Cartouche adding that token is a big deal. I'm still shocked that this deck only runs 1 All the Glitters. But it's clearly working. I mean, it's very impressive.
It seems like it's mostly like a tutable type card in their deck specifically.
Right. Yeah, but I always assume, like, I associate the Aura deck by getting, like, 2 All the Glitters on a Core Spirit Dancer and, things getting out of hand. This is looking like a pretty sweet hand. They have access to the Spell Pierce on 1 into Core Spirit Dancer on 2. Potentially, if they choose to, depending on how EyLDS plays out their turn 1, obviously, could dictate if they want to keep the Spell Pierce up or not. Try them on 1, nothing wrong with that.
And looks like
I can make a solid argument for either.
You really need a land, Ham. You really need a land here. This is too sketchy, I think. It's too much of a sketchy keep. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, if EyLDS is smart here, they just snap off a removal spell, right?
If they have it, oh yeah. Yeah, if there's a Fatal Push in there, or you just absolutely just rip it here.
Oh,
yep, there it is.
Oh, that's so brutal. You get to know their hand.
Yeah, you get to see the hand, exactly. Ouch.
It's a really tough way here. I mean, might have waited, Ham. Oh, he's a Thoughtseize.
Oh, Thoughtseize can get rid of Luris now.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's just...
Yeah, EyLDS is
that's tough.
Those are the exact answers that EyLDS needed. You know, because we've all seen what Core Spirit Dancer can do if left unchecked, but going up against a control deck, like, you gotta know that creature's not gonna stick around.
Yeah, here's Eyelids
Um,
getting some redraws. They have another Thoughtseize. They paid the life for it. So
my
they're going to go down
goodness.
to 12, but they're just going to keep getting the best cards they can. And that Saram is coming in clutch right now, honestly.
Big time.
You can
Big
defeat
time.
Saram, and then I would probably... I guess they're going to go for the Sentinel's Eyes instead of the Curious Obsession. That makes a little bit more sense. You want to keep the Curious Obsession when you know you can actually hit for damage. So
Yeah.
Eyelids is up to 4 cards. Let's say one of them or 2 of them are land. They still have 2 cards that are either threats or removal spells. And it looks like they're touching the Saram, so they definitely have removal. That Wandering,
Yep.
that Maelstrom Pulse, excuse me. And Selfless Savior, though, another threat. So Mertcan's still happy to see this. They can exile 2 cards out of their graveyard if they wanted, but it looks like they're actually going to go for the redraw with the cartouche, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we have another SRAM now all of a sudden. So, all right.
Now, Eyelids digging in main phase with the instant spell is also really great, right?
Oh, it's a good sign. Yeah, absolutely.
And it looks like we have Glacial Fortress as their 4th land, so Mertcan's doing really great. I mean, they drew an engine card. The question is do they want to play the SRAM now? I think you do, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think I was thinking throwing the SRAM and then playing the Curious Obsession on the Selfless Savior. Oh, they're going for the Sentinel's Eyes. Okay.
Yep, going to exile a couple cards that don't necessarily matter right now.
Absolutely.
And do you go in with that Curious Obsession too? What do you think?
I think leaving the Spell Pierce up, I mean, we've probably already passed the point where Spell Pierce is meaningful, but at the same time, in this moment, it might be, so I can appreciate keeping it.
They're just bluffing it right now, though, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't have it, so they're just gonna bluff it. I think. I guess I see the argument for not wanting to play the aura because you have a card that gives you card advantage, and you don't want to just waste it on them having like a fatal push. The thing is, though, is that Eyelids hasn't used a removal spell yet, and you would think that by now they would have a removal spell, right?
Well, they use Eyelids use the Legions and Maelstrom Pulse so far. So yeah, we have seen some removal already. Yeah, here comes Storm Chaser Drake. Yeah, where do you put the Curious Obsession on is the question. Do you want to draw the card now or later? They're going for all the glitters on the Drake. Okay.
That looks a lot better.
Yeah. But also a note, for the folks watching at home, you may notice in this situation, Mertcan has only swung at Eyelids once. And you may be wondering how the heck or twice maybe, but very few times. Like there hasn't been a lot of pressure coming from Mertcan's side of the board for this game. How the heck did Eyelids get to 9 life? You'll notice out of Eyelids mana base, 4 of those lands are shock lands. And a lot of them came into play untapped. And so that made a huge difference. You know, Eyelids was willing to take an early life hit in order
they had
to
that turn where they double
disruption.
Thoughtseize, and it seemed like the game was kind of going in their favor. They lost 6 life just in one turn.
Yeah.
You know?
The double Thoughtseize, of course. Yeah, absolutely. That's a... Yeah, they looked like they had it. Ooh, and they are going to sacrifice the Selfless Savior to keep the Storm Chaser Drake alive.
Yeah. So even if Eyelids had another removal spell, I mean, you're just still have that SRAM out that's going to draw you a ton of cards, and game's definitely looking like it's going to be in Mertcan's favor here, honestly.
Which is shocking because it did not start that way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, considering they only really had 1 threat in their opening hand, and then it died right away.
Right away. Yeah. Well, and I mean,
ooh, Extinction Event isn't bad.
Ouch. Yeah, and it's an exile effect, so Selfless Savior can't do anything here.
You are going to get to keep it, though, so you can almost come in for 7 damage here.
You know?
Light Pause and then kind of combo out a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yep, Curious Obsession first. Yep,
100%.
Gonna go get Rafine's Guidance. Or
Absolutely.
Cartouche. Or I guess they don't have the Cartouche, yeah.
Yeah, but you can grab a Sentinel's Eyes, Valor.
I guess Valor is good, yeah, because you'll get like a 1/1 if it dies. I think you still have the Sentinel's Eyes here. Because you want to come in for the most amount of damage.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this game started by Mertcan playing out a threat, and then Eyelids hitting it with a Legion's End, which not only killed the creature, but also got to check their hand. And so Eyelids, like if you're a control player, well, that's exactly what you want to see. I want to remove my opponent's hand threat, and then look at their hand and see that they have no more. You know, like that
Mertcan's
moment
just has a bunch of threats now, right? Like if their dog dies, they get a 1/1 Spirit. You know, they can keep protecting the Light Paws, and It looks like Eyelids is going to dig here for what I would believe would be like a Languish type effect.
Oh
Even
yeah,
if they
that's
do, it's not a guarantee they win, considering there's a Storm Chaser Drake that is still out in Merkin's hand.
absolutely. Well,
And
and
they get a
notably,
Deluge.
ooh, they got a deluge. That's not what they were hoping for.
And that's GG's, folks. Looks like
Yep.
Merkin's going to take it down. Eyelids is going to tap out for its memory Deluge. And, I mean, they could still have a Fatal Push, but they do
Maybe, but
not.
yeah, they do not. Yeah, and notably too, if that Narset had pulled up an extinction event, the Selfless Savior is a 1-drop and the Light Pause is 2-drop. So even that wouldn't have solved the problem. Would have bought
Exactly.
him. I mean, it would have helped a little bit, but at the end of the day,
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
yeah. So that's a slightly different approach to the deck. But at the end of the day, we're seeing Core Spirit Dancers, we're seeing Cerams, we're seeing Light Pause, we're seeing Esper Sentinel. So a lot of the same, powerhouse cards are still in here. And the enchantment suite looks very similar with Curious Sentinel, it's Curious Obsession, Sentinel's Eyes, Staggering Insight, Arcane Flight, Won All the Glitters. Yeah. So this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, gonna be a really big matchup here. I know we've been following Merkin through the tournament. They've been undefeated, so let's see what they can do this round. Obviously, you know their deck is really, really powerful, but they're also facing against the same thing on the other side of the battlefield. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in these types of situations, it really does come down to who draws the best, and neither of these decks has any type of like interaction really.
Right.
So it's pretty much whoever goes over the top or gets the unblockable card first here, and looks like Hasty has a really good setup here. They have Saram with the Selfless Savior. Let's go and see where that goes.
Yep. Now you're correct that they don't have much removal, but Mercat does have these witness protections. And witness protection with the light pause down, I mean, can effectively take SRAM out of the game, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty fantastic.
Yep.
And light pause triggers, so that gets to grow, which you love to see. Well, and looking at the results, so obviously both players are here in the top 4. Both of these
Mm-hmm.
players are playing this deck very well today. And looking at the results, Hasty actually, it looks like they only lost one game or one match, and it actually went to game 3 against Selesnya humans in round 1. But otherwise they were able to get match wins throughout the rest of the Swiss as well. So yeah, we're in for a treat here, and my goodness, is light pause powerful.
Yeah, just being able to tutor the card you need, or effectively making a threat out of nowhere, essentially, is kind of what Light Balls ends up doing here.
Yeah, I mean, and right there on turn 3, before hitting their 3rd land drop, they removed Hasty's biggest threat in SRAM and put them on a 4-turn clock.
Yep.
My
And
goodness.
they're drawing cards. That's just, that's a lot. I mean, this Curious Obsession is just huge, right?
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
And I mean, Hasty's gonna scoop it up. I
I
don't
don't
blame
blame him.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is way out of reach. I mean, yeah, you can play land and potentially make a blocker, but that's also highly unlikely that you're gonna
Yep.
do anything with that. All you're really doing is jumping for a turn, and then Merkin goes back to drawing 2 cards a turn, making their creatures bigger, tutoring for more auras. Like,
My
yeah,
goodness.
that was huge. I mean, you can tell that they really do only need one all as glitters because the light balls and the
Yep.
core spirit dancers get so big so fast, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, all these little, the Sentinel's Eyes, the Curious Obsession, the cartouches, all these little bonuses, even the Rafine's Guidance, like all these little bonuses just add up so fast. It's really shocking.
Oh
Yeah, Staggering
yeah.
Insight and Curious Obsession both do provide a power and toughness buff. I mean, my goodness.
Helion Punishment's going to be really good in this matchup too because you're able to draw some cards off of the enchantment itself, and on top of that, you're going to be able to get rid of any problematic card that's on the other side of the battlefield.
Hmm. Cleansing Nova being an interesting choice, and I think that could be a potential mirror breaker here. I like that being a one of coming in from the side, because here Merkin's going to be on the draw. So if Hasty is able to do basically what Mertcan just did to them, having some, I mean, granted, of course, if it's that explosive and that fast, that Cleansing Nova is not going to do anything. But if
Esper
we get to
Sentinel's really huge too, right? In these
oh, it
matchups.
is
Oh, look at this. They
absolutely.
both have it. So Merkin's going to get to draw the card first. How big is that going to be, you think?
I think that actually makes a really significant difference. I mean, unless Hasty follows up with a SRAM or a Spirit Dancer. Ooh, offering the trade. That's kind of cheeky. I like that.
Yeah, you just take that though. Just 1 point
Yeah,
of
you take
damage,
it.
not a big deal.
It's tempting though. Getting an opportunity to get rid of their Esper Sentinel could go a long way.
Oh
Yeah, here
yeah,
comes
for sure.
SRAM.
Oh, Light Pulse is a really big draw now too. I think you just Light Pulse, and then next turn you can set up the Sentinel's Eyes to kind of go in really big.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Hasty does have their card advantage with their own SRAM, so we'll see how this game ends up. Cleansing Nova is going to be great. We know that. It could just blow up the whole battlefield. And on top of Cleansing Nova being really good, right now I think Merkin's probably looking for a Selfless Savior to help whenever they do that board wipe, and they're willing to make that trade now.
Okay.
So yeah, you go ahead and play this SRAM. I think you Sentinel's Eyes onto the
Yeah,
SRAM.
Sentinel's in SRAM, draw a card.
Yeah, so you're going to get the search with the Light Pulse, but that aura goes on to Light Pulse, but I don't think that you really want to do that, right?
Um,
I guess it has a target the Light Pulse, so never mind. Yeah, you don't get the card out. If you did, you probably don't really want to get the card out because Light Pulse isn't attacking for a few turns here. They got to get rid of all those charge counters on the Heliods.
actually, with Heliod's Punishment, notably, it does say enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and has
Oh,
tap roof, chance
okay.
counter.
So
I had
yeah,
forgotten
you're
about
not
that
getting
text.
anything off of it. Yeah, I
Yeah, we're
forgot
not
about
getting
that line of
my
text
right now.
too.
Yep.
Yeah. And it looks like
Yeah, so you
AC is
gotta get
starting
those
to get
back.
their game plan with the Core
Yep.
Spirit Dancer. But Merkin probably isn't that worried because of the Nova, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. As long as they can hold on. Well, and this next turn, especially if they draw land, they can keep the Otawara back to bounce the Core Spirit Dancer if it gets out of hand, which it undoubtedly will.
Uh, I guess this is fine, but you probably want to eventually hold up the Dovin's veto, right, for next turn? Because they could have
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
somewhat threatening, or like an aura that's a problem. Yeah, I mean, 4/4 isn't huge, but it's still something.
Yeah, Spirit Dancer's nice. To be honest there, I think holding up the veto might have made sense. But
We'll find out. I mean, Merkin, did what they needed to do the game before.
true.
They usually, do really well in these events, but
Oh yeah. No, Merkin
mirror
is
match
a
is hard, right?
absolutely. No, Merkin's
Mirror
an
match is
excellent
hard.
player, and on top of that, Merkin knows this deck way better than I do, so
I'm
that is
not
what
gonna
it is.
doubt a world championship playing player.
Right?
You
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean? If you've
Yeah,
played in
somebody
worlds, you're definitely know what you're doing. I would say.
Yep. No, exactly. He has made it to the show, and yeah, no, it's well, and we've seen what Mertcan's capable of, in a number of our events. So yeah, no, I'm not betting against him quickly here, or easily here.
Cleansing Nova or bust, right? You think?
As unfortunate as that is, I think that is the case.
I think what's killing Merkin this game is the fact that Hasty just still has like 6 cards in hand, and
Mm-hmm.
even if Merkin wipes the board, they're not going to be left with anything in play.
Right.
You're playing at land, and then you know 6 for 1 yourself, and then you only have 2 cards left, and one of them's a counterspell, but you're tapped out. It just seems kind of rough. You can also just bounce the Spirit Dancer now if you wanted to, right?
True.
Like main
Well, and
phase.
the other option is to play Cleansing Nova, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. It would get rid of Heliod's Punishment. It would get rid of the Esper Sentinel. Your opponent is left with a SRAM and a Spirit Dancer, but you also have a SRAM and a Spirit Dancer plus Light Pause. So
Surprisingly, the Otawara is only 2 mana, so they can Otawara and hold up the
hmm,
Dovin's veto.
true. That could be
I
pretty
don't know if
solid.
Merc can. That's actually, I think, a pretty easy thing to miss. Honestly, is the cost
Yeah.
reduction on those channel lands. So we'll see if they catch that, because I really feel like that's probably the best play. Is you bounce the Spirit Dancer. It gives you the opportunity to swing in. And it
Okay.
looks like they're going for the other play here, and maybe keeping up the Ottawa for their turn.
All right, another SRAM. Yeah, yes, please draw the card. All right. So Spirit Dancer can chip in for 3 here. SRAM can crack in for 4 because of Vigilance. That is pretty darn handy. Now, notably, that Core Spirit Dancer on Hasty's side is unblockable, which is pretty darn important.
And yeah, I mean, the bounce spell's looking good. You're going to have to do it if they end up snapping off some kind of like removal spell on one of these legendary creatures, but you still have the answer right now to the Spirit Dancer.
Right. All right. And here comes another Core Spirit Dancer. That's okay. That's a lot of card draw.
Oh,
It's on the
yeah.
field right now. Here comes a Cartouche. Yeah, and unfortunately, while the mana is there, a Dovin's Veto would mean a defeat for Mertcan here.
Yeah, it's not looking good here
Mm-hmm.
for Merkin, but they still have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. There they go. Yeah, getting rid of that Core Spirit Dancer, which would spell their doom. Should they let it stick on the board. So it's pretty darn important. So now Hasty's in a position where it's, okay, do you get the other Spirit Dancer down and focus for next turn, or do you just go all out on SRAM? Meanwhile, Mertcan knows there's a board wipe potentially coming here.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, wiping the board while your opponent has that many cards in hand, yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. Oh,
So
that portable hole, I believe, just wins Hasty the game here. Because
yeah,
Light Pause can't block. SRAM's a 4/4.
tough. Yeah, that's
Mertcan's a
you
4
know, pretty
life.
simple
Yep.
GG here. I just needed
Yep.
the removal spell, and gonna go ahead and take this game
Found it.
down to make it a game 3.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so I think a big difference there was who was on the play. I think that made a pretty significant difference, even though Mertcan did hold on quite well. They did a good job of staying in the game and doing what they could. Yeah, the Cleansing Nova, they're pulling it out. They weren't happy with its performance. And Dovin's Veto also were not loving what that card was bringing to the table. So they're going back more to plan A. They're getting some creatures back in here, getting the Rafine's Guidance back in, focused more on, well, doing what the deck's designed to do. Yeah, not worried too much about these removal options. Yeah, and in a deck like this, where you want to be mobilizing threats and spending all of your mana on these small auras, counter spells and board wipes are really tricky to navigate. And keeping when to keep mana up versus when to play stuff out is really, it's just, I don't know. I find it very, very challenging, and understanding when the right opportunities are is pretty meaningful. Oh, portable hole in the Light Pause. That's a fantastic response. And then followed up with an Esper Sentinel. Those are 2 really powerful 1-drops.
Hey, big shout outs to Sunny coming in with that raid. Thank you so much, Sunny.
Oh,
Gonna hear
thank you
this a
so much,
little bit
Sonny.
on the
We
delay,
appreciate
but
you.
really, really appreciate you coming in with your community. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
everybody. Hope you're all
And
having a great night.
Absolutely. And if you are here watching this tournament and you are not currently following Sonny Buzzkill, do yourself a favor and go drop that man a follow. He puts on an excellent show, and not enough of you are watching him. I'll tell you that right now. So just put it out there. Also, I don't know anybody else who would get on their feet and do a dance while wearing a hot dog outfit. I mean,
That's
what more do I need
actually
to
like
say,
very,
really?
very true. It's definitely some high quality entertainment over in Sunny's
Right?
stream.
It's just
So
good stuff.
not
Yeah.
only are they having a good time drafting, they're definitely having a good time with chat as well and with all the viewers. So definitely give them some love. We
100%.
dropped the link there in the chat. Make sure that you click on that. Frosty Flavors in the house as well with the resub. Thank you so much for that, Frosty. 6 months in a row. Let's go. Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
to see it. Ooh. All right. And so Hasty bringing the slip out the back to protect Light Paws from the Witness Protection. That's pretty darn good. SRAM's going to get in for a little bit of damage.
Yep, gonna go ahead and hit them for 2 damage here. Gonna get this Light Paws down.
And it looks like Mertcan is actually going to throw the Storm Chaser Drake here. Which, with the Curious Obsession in hand, I can appreciate that because they're able to play the Light Pause and then Curious Obsession on the Drake, draw a card, um, get another aura, and then also be able to attack with the Drake, hopefully connect, which may not be the case anymore. We shall see. Because now Hasty has gotten a Storm Chaser Drake of their own, as well as the SRAM of their own. So, I mean, both decks are doing what they came here to do.
Yeah, like we said before, the mirror match really comes down to who draws the best, and in game 3, I mean, it looks like both of them have pretty much set up their card advantage engine, so it really comes down to who has the biggest unblockable threat or flying threat now.
Right. And Solidarity is going to be coming down, creating another body on board. And now Hasty has an opportunity to trade Storm Chaser Drakes and also get that Curious Obsession off the board, and they choose to take it. They choose to
It's
take that
kind of
trade.
a sketchy attack, but Merkin's also protecting themselves on the way back at the same time, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
they know if they trade Drakes, then they don't have any other auras to make their creatures huge.
Right.
Merkin has technically the better battlefield and a real hand.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being is that now Hasty has this Luris, so it really depends on what Hasty decides to bring back now. Pretty much, they don't really have much. They have a
Yeah.
Drake, and that's not really it's not really good enough for Hasty's Luris, I don't think. It looks like Merkin's just going to play the Core Spirit Dancer. That way they can set up their own Luris with some auras next turn, and then kind of go off with the Light Paws, I believe.
Yeah. Well, and being able to chip in with the Light Pause here for a little bit of damage, that first strike is very relevant. And yeah, exactly. I mean, both players at this point have been very close to popping off. They've been, and actually that Staggering Insight, presumably off the top for Hasty, was pretty darn good. When all that glitters, okay, all of a sudden that cartouche for that little 1/1 blocker is looking pretty good. But that 8 lifelink is a real issue. Yeah, but both players have been kind of dancing around trying to set this thing up, and I gotta say they've done a fine job. And at this point, Hasty was able to get with that one Staggering Insight, um, make a pretty significant difference. All right, so here comes Luris, and what is Luris going to bring back? Could be Witness Protection on the Light Pause, but again, the Witness Protection, um, it will, or maybe the Witness Protection on Luris. There you go, because that actually denies Hasty access to a whole lot of cards.
Yeah, this is pretty huge here, honestly.
Yeah,
Getting rid of their best card and also, replacing your card at the same time is really huge here.
right. Well, and on top of that, they were able to pay the tax for the Esper Sentinel. And you'll notice because of Light Pause, SRAM, and now Luris, the channel on Adawara is down to 1 blue. So
That's really important, especially, when you're just trying to get rid of like a potential threat or like a blocker. And Merkin's looking really good now. At one point, it looked like, the game was getting kind of tough for them, considering that Hasty had a pretty decent battlefield with that Light Pulse on their side. But right now, Merkin's, using the card advantage engine to their favor in a huge way here, and being able to come in for a lot of damage.
absolutely. Well, and even a gang block there wouldn't have worked because of that first strike. Man,
Yeah,
is it just me or is first strike just crazy underrated?
it
I think
really
that,
is.
yeah.
It makes combat like really, really impossible.
Yeah, your combat math gets thrown off by that in a big way. But yeah, that Ottawara now only costs 1, so that Light Pause, I have a feeling, is going to be spending some time back in Hasty's hand.
Mm-hmm. Let's go and see what happens here. I mean, it's going to
Ooh,
be
no
a
attacks.
close
Okay.
match either way for both players here.
Absolutely. And this is game 3.
Yep.
I
Bounce
love a good
spell on the
close game
Light
3.
Pulse. Light Pulse is going to lose all those auras. It's going to come back to Merkin. Merkin has a pretty decent battlefield that they can actually start to attack with, considering they have a Curious Obsession and a Cartouche of Knowledge to pump up their cards. They can make
Absolutely.
this Court Spirit Dancer huge, right?
Yeah. And they have all the mana in the world, so they can throw another Core Spirit Dancer, draw all the cards. And, yeah, they elect to go with the Esper Sentinel first. Yeah, here comes the Cartouche of Knowledge. That Core Spirit Dancer gets absolutely massive. They do pay the Esper Sentinel tax. Draw a card? Would you like to draw a card? I mean, yeah, I think I will. Yeah, 100%. And they also draw into a Heliod's Punishment. Nothing wrong with that. Now, Light Pulse has an opportunity to grab the Aether Tunnel because it can also grab all the glitters next turn or next spell, frankly, and that's pretty nice. Yeah, Heliod's Punishment on SRAM, absolutely. Getting that card draw engine off the board is a big darn deal. Drawing more cards. You'll love to see it. You just love seeing that many cards.
Yeah, I mean, Mertcan's just complete control of this game now. They can just go get
Mm-hmm.
all that glitters and pretty much kill their opponent here in one hit. They have 17 flying. If they attack out, they do not have the win yet, so they can only come in for only 17, Ham.
Only. I mean, come
Only
on,
17.
Mertcan, really.
What a shame. Missing these 2 points of damage here.
My goodness.
And you're getting to draw the card at first strike. That seems pretty good. It's looking like Mertcan's going to wrap this one up. I mean, they've been doing really good with this deck today.
Absolutely. No question
about it. You can tell they put a lot of time into figuring out what the right lines of play are because, there's times where even the both of us have doubted them, but, we both know Mertcan's a really competent, like I said, a world championship playing player. So,
Join the PizzaBox Discord as well. A lot of great information on upcoming events are there. Also, the competitors are actually streaming their games to the Discord, which is how we're able to show them to you. So if you want to participate in the events, we'd appreciate it if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen so we can take a look at your gameplay and show the people your awesome plays and your awesome deck building. So just throwing that out there. Please don't hesitate. If you've got Discord, if you've got it installed, jump into the PizzaBox. There's some great conversation, great stuff happening over there.
100%.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah, we made it to the finals, Ham. Let's go.
Here we are.
Made it to the finals.
Let's do it.
Fortunately, it looks like Mertcan does have to start off here with the mulligan to 5.
Ouch. You don't love that. But they have 2 card draw engines and an aura in their hand. So it could be, I mean, I would rather have 5 okay cards than 6 or 7 really lousy cards. So, I can appreciate that. And they draw into a Light Pause. Nothing wrong with that. They have kind of an embarrassment of riches at the 2-drop slot. What do you lead with?
Yeah.
They choose the Light Pause. Okay.
Gonna be pretty interesting here.
Absolutely. And so if they draw into a land, they can hit another 2-drop and the Sentinel's Eyes, which would be pretty sweet. Now, and Kikiolo is on the Selesnya Angel list that we just saw pop off to great effect. And so we'll see if that has as it takes here Giada. That's about the best 2-drop.
Early. So Mertcan can get pretty aggressive here if they want to. Do you think it's better for them to play the Saram? Right now, their flyers don't mean anything in this matchup, considering that the opponent has a lot of angels, right?
True. Yeah, no. Flying is not evasion when you're going up against angels. It's irrelevant. Yeah, so I can appreciate this. Turning Light Pause into a 4/4. You know that Kikolo here is not going to block with Giada. So did you draw a card, and that happens to be the land. You shock that in, get a SRAM going. Okay. Now, they're running awfully low on auras, which they desperately need to keep this engine rolling. But if they top deck into an aura, just about any of them, they'd be in good shape. Even something like a Witness Protection, getting rid of Giada would be fantastic. Giada's attacking.
Yeah, still Giada's just going to come in for that too because they have Vigilance. They can't collect a company, but they could potentially Righteous Valkyrie here. Righteous Valkyrie would be probably the best thing that they can do, I would think. Oh, wow. They're actually just going for the straight removal spell.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I mean, that Light Pause is a serious threat.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I got to say, I did not... Well, and doing it main phase there, just in case of any... when your opponent's tapped out and they have a big threat like that and you have an opportunity to just ice it, I mean, you got to go for it. And here Mertcan is offering the trade between SRAM and Giada. Knowing what Kikolo's deck is capable of life gain-wise, I can appreciate wanting to pressure that life total because Giada is really important. Okay, here's that 4th land, one of which is green. We all know what that means. There is an opportunity for Coco here. If it is one of the 5 cards they have in hand.
Another
Said they're gonna drop
Youthful Valkyrie.
Okay.
And Overseer, it's going to be a 4/3. gains life, draws him a card. It's really unfortunate Merkin had to mulligan to 5 because those two other cards could have been auras. And in all honesty, Merkin might have been able to go over the top right now in this turn. But I think after this turn, it's only going to continually get harder. And it looks like Merkin's just going to make that indestructible.
Yeah, and sacrificing the Self as Savior puts another card in the graveyard so that
They
the
can use that
Sentinel's Eyes can be
Sentinel's Eyes.
escaped.
It's
Yeah.
a really good draw there with the
Yeah.
Witness Protection. It makes one of the bigger angels into something that isn't that big.
Yeah, and it takes it out of the air, which is pretty nice.
Yeah,
But,
that's potentially the main thing, right?
Yeah. And getting Giada's ability off the field, I can appreciate. That's a long-term investment here because I think I blocked the Youthful Valkyrie, and it's, yeah. But at the same time, it's indestructible, so why not? Yeah, getting Giada off the field is kind of a long-term investment because if you have three, if you have two other angels down plus Giada and you hit a Coco, a Righteous Valkyrie, a Resplendent Angel, I mean, just about anything, they come into play so freaking huge right away. I can appreciate being worried about that because one Coco with a Giada down, that Aura's deck has no answer to it. Like, especially if they can spin into like a Righteous Valkyrie, get out of here. Yeah, there's nothing they can do. So I think using the Witness Protection on Giada, drawing some cards. Yeah, definitely right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Once the angel deck gets going, if you're just any type of creature strategy, I mean, you're just gonna have a hard time against it,
Absolutely.
That's kind of the problem here. And Merkin just not having any luck in this game. I mean, they mulligan down to 5, and they drew 3 straight lands. So, yeah, definitely not what you want to be doing here.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, it's gonna be
no
rough.
attacks, and at this point, yeah, Kikolo is also, I mean, has 5 mana down, has 3 creatures, 5 cards in hand, though. I'm guessing that they're sitting on a grip with a fair number of lands in it as well, or something that's not impacting the board because...
I would think it's like a collected company that they're thinking about whether or not they want a main phase. They
Mm-hmm.
could have potentially just played 2 threats last turn just to get 2 threats down, and then now they Coco into, you know, potentially some more of their actual engine of the life gain to pump up their creatures bigger. But I think that Kikolo right now might just have a bunch of options. I think they're sitting at a table, so I don't know if you can go over to Kikolo
absolutely.
and see what they actually have in their hand that's making them think so long here. They're actually casting in a Johnny, so it could have been a Johnny or Coco, was it?
So it was a Johnny, and actually the other card that they have in their hand is a Settle the Wreckage. It's a Settle the Wreckage and 2 lands. Yep.
It's not really useful right now.
No, it's really not. So they're in a situation where they have a really good board state. They've got a lot of good things going on, but they need to draw into some action because they don't really have it.
And
meanwhile, Mertcan here is
gonna make this Drake potentially pretty huge. Did you buff up the Saram? The Saram actually, it makes it a blocker. Yeah, it makes it another big blocker. Oh, not drawing lands. They do have Ottawara. Ottawara can block one or can bounce one of the attackers. You also have Luris. You don't have anything in the graveyard for it though. I think right now Merkin probably just wants to bounce something, and then it sucks that their creatures don't have like a Curious Obsession now, because you could have bounced the blocker out of the way and then potentially drawn some more cards. But looks like Merkin's just going to go for the attack here. They're not bouncing before.
Okay.
Which I find kind of surprising. They're going to trade the Drake. I guess you get those enchantments back into the graveyard.
Yeah, Luris can...
And Luris can help you recast them at 1 mana, so you can recast this Sentinel's Eyes, redraw a card, make your creature a little bit bigger here. So what does Kikolo have going on here?
Yeah, so Kikolo just drew a Youthful Valkyrie, which is not bad per se, but at the same time, I mean, it's a Settle the Wreckage, 2 lands, and a Youthful Valk. So, like, it's just not quite what they want to see. And meanwhile, Mertcan just keeps drawing cards, which is not fun.
Yeah,
if you're in Kikolo seed.
Mertcan mulligan, and then Kikolo is getting mana flooded.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what's going on right now.
They, a lot of the time the angel deck, you almost want to max out at like 4 lands. If you get to 6, it's nice for the Resplendent Angel, but in this situation, you're just super flooded right now.
Yeah. That said, Mertcan is down to 6. I mean, that's
not nothing.
notable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not nothing.
that's a factor.
Now this
So,
witness protection is going to go a long way in ensuring that they can put it on one of the threatening flyers
mm-hmm.
here. Fortunately, Merkin probably going to attack into a settle here. They don't really have a choice. Not really
Right.
something you can, even though you know that it's open deck list, you know they have it in their deck. I don't really think that you want to go out of your way to play against that, play around that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the
Yeah,
only
and it's
thing they'd be
also
attacking with is the 4/4 though.
right. And the set is also a one of. So it's definitely not something I would play around here, but in this case, Kikolo has it.
Mm-hmm. And looks like we have witness protection. Wow, that's actually pretty surprising. Looks like they want to try to attack here.
Okay.
This gets around. Maybe they're worried about a Coco making the youthful
Making
Valkyrie
that
way
useful
too big.
Valkyrie. Yep. All
Sentinel's
right.
Eyes, probably put that on the flyer. Not sure. Yep, gonna come in at the Ajani here.
Yep, absolutely.
Coca-Cola does have some oh, I guess they don't have any flying chump blockers.
Yeah, they don't have any flying jump blockers anymore.
Do you settle?
Oof.
If they
Wow.
settle,
I
they
mean,
just Merkin just has a backup Saram, right? And the
exactly. Well, there's
Sentinel's
that.
Eyes.
Yeah, but even without the backup SRAM, yeah, because the auras just go back to the graveyard. The creature's exiled, but everything else goes back to the yard with the Luris down. So, and even not even being aware, so Kikolo's not aware of the SRAM, but Storm Chaser Drake is a card draw engine as well. So they choose to go for the settle here. I might have as well, but I don't feel good about it. Like I really wish they would have attacked with Luris. Um, ooh, good question. Huh? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, there it is. That makes good sense. But yeah, that puts a couple more ores in the graveyard for Luris to work with,
Yeah, just gonna
and
get a couple more lands here.
yeah, get another land. Okay,
Sorry if I was muted there for a moment. I know I
no
was
worries,
talking.
no worries at all. All right, here comes Sentinels on the Storm Chaser Drake. Yeah, when just about every single card in your hand cantrips feels pretty good. Now this Righteous Valkyrie just came off the top for Kikolo. That's a pretty good
It's
draw.
pretty huge. They're gonna gain the life they need here, pretty much, off
Mm-hmm.
of the Ajani. Oh, here we go.
Boom.
Here we go,
And
Ham.
even those little legitimate business persons are 3/3s now.
Yep, this
So
is lethal.
ouch. Yep.
This
Gotta
is
block something.
lethal. Gonna have to make the trade here. Go down to 3. Oh, they're double blocking. Oh,
Okay.
Merkin's in a tough spot here. They need...
Absolutely.
I was thinking they need some kind of life gain. I guess you can cast Witness Protection on the Righteous Valkyrie. Maybe get the Sentinel's Eyes back from the graveyard. Merkin's not out of the game yet, by
Right.
any means here. A thing to notice, on Kikolo's side, they have the creature land that flies.
True. Yeah, we need to not lose track of that because that can make a pretty significant difference here. And those witness protections are coming in clutch.
Huge. Just so
Yeah.
huge right now.
My goodness.
Yep. And yeah, I think either way you still play the land. You probably bring back one of these Sentinel's Eyes. If not
Makes
both, to
sense.
draw some cards.
Mm-hmm. Buffing up the Luris because of that life link. Yeah, it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Gotta gain that life. Don't have a choice. Yeah, and the toughness edition there from the Rafine's Guidance does bring Luris out of a group block situation range. That's pretty darn useful. Draw some more cards. Okay, here we go. And it's got Vigilance now, too. Sweet. Yeah, and if I'm Kikolo, I think I chump block here and save the Planeswalker, but it feels really bad to lose the Righteous Valkyrie here.
100%.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of what you got to do, right? And really hope to draw into a Coco or something that can get you back into this game.
Yeah, they don't really have much left. And they're just hopefully trying to get in with that creature land. Maybe that
Right?
creature land will kill them in a couple of hits, but at the same time, I mean, Merkin is going to gain some life off the Luris now, so you're kind of out of that range, right?
Right. All right, this is intense.
I think you have to chump.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
certainly
gotta
would.
chump with the Valkyrie. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
completely acceptable. I mean, you don't really have much stuff that gets rid of auras and stuff. Game one, I think you gotta just
Wow.
lose it.
Um, yeah, Kokolo just drew another Righteous Valkyrie.
Ooh,
Wow. All
yeah. I
right.
mean, it's not doing anything now. That's the thing, right? It's gonna pump up
Mm-hmm.
this youthful. Oh, I guess it did. They already are at the life, so yeah, that's actually gonna. Ooh, that's kind of tough.
Yep.
They're gonna gain some more life, so now they're actually at such high life that it's gonna be hard for Merkin to bring them back down. The thing is that they can't. They can attack with the youthful Valkyrie, but that also leaves them open to potentially Merkin having like a massive turn next turn, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, when the Auras deck has 2 card draw engines on the field, Aluris, and that many lands, you know it's coming. Like there is
Sentinel's
a
Eyes
big
are in the
turn coming.
graveyard. Those could come back,
Mm-hmm.
and if they get to untap, they have the other legitimate. They have the Witness Protection again to play
Oh
on
my
the other
goodness.
Valkyries. So, the thing is Kikolo's drawing the cards they need, but Merkin also has the answers in the graveyard already.
Yeah.
And here's another Core Spirit Dancer. Going to go ahead and just a recall here real quick off of this Witness Protection.
No big deal.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
big deal. Just drawing 3 cards for 1 mana.
Dang. Well, and here's where the Core Spirit Dancer's May is pretty relevant. I'm looking at the size of Mertcan's deck. I don't know the exact number, but that stack might get a little short here pretty quick. So, all right. Yep. All right, Axe or yeah, that Aether Tunnel. Yeah, that's gonna be hitting the field. Unblockable is a pretty good effect.
I would definitely say unblockability is good. Yeah,
It's not bad.
it's not
Yeah,
bad.
you can do some stuff with that.
Yeah, you can do some things. I'm really surprised I didn't put it on the Luris. Luris gains more life, right?
True,
Uh,
but the Core Spirit Dancer is gonna be able to get in for more damage. Um,
I guess you can make the Luris bigger anyways. All they have is 4 toughness, so if you can make your Luris 5
mhm.
toughness, then you can kind of just keep attacking through what they have anyways, which is probably what they're thinking as well. It looks like they're gonna Selfless Savior anyways.
Oh,
I
there you
mean,
go. Yeah, that'll do.
that's pretty much it here. Let's see. So we also have a Curious Obsession. I feel like you probably put that Curious Obsession on the Core Spirit Dancer, and then a
Makes
Sentinel's
sense.
Eyes on the Luris.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, that checks
Luris is
out.
just gaining so much life, right?
Absolutely, and that's incredible here. Oh, the Curious Possession's going on the Luris. Okay.
And yep, got 5 toughness, big deal. They can't just gang block it.
Yep.
And you probably attack with the Luris and the Core Spirit Dancer. I
That's what I'm
feel like
thinking.
you might want to cast these other auras if it's a possibility, if you're able to.
Yeah, at this point they've moved to the start of combat, so
A good thing is you can redraw cards up to, so that way you can put more cards in your graveyard for the Sentinel's Eyes food.
true.
And it looks like, yep, Merkin's just going to kill the Ajani, which is being super problematic.
Yep.
To go ahead and gain some life off of the Luris. Kikolo doesn't have any good blocks right now, and you know what, Ham? This has been a really interesting game.
Absolutely. Well, the other cool thing about this, you may think how many witness protections are in Mertcan's deck because it just keeps coming out. The truth of the matter is, with Luris down, every single time one of these creatures dies and gets chump blocked, that witness protection goes back into Mertcan's graveyard, and Mertcan can then play it out again to get rid of the next threat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've seen that's exactly what Mertcan's doing, and it's just surgically removing the threats from Kikolo's board. And that would I never would have thought that this Aura's deck could have such efficient removal, but it absolutely does here with those witness protections. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
gotta
loving this. This is a
interact.
blast.
Always gotta
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you can interact. If you can't interact, you're gonna have a harder time winning the game unless you're doing something that's so broken it doesn't really matter what your
Yep.
opponent has on the other side of the battlefield. And a lot of the time you can say the same thing about those angel decks too. A lot of the time they're just trying to get, the mass amount of angels down and Coco, but Kokolo's deck has answers. I mean, the unfortunate thing about Kokolo is that they had to use that Settle the Wreckage, or they
Mm-hmm.
felt like they had to use that Settle the Wreckage,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
now that 1-for-1's looking really bad, right?
Yep. Oh, no question. One for one that ramped Merkin. Although admittedly just by 1 land, but still. Yeah, and here
Right.
comes the Bishop of Wings, which is fine, but it's just not enough here, right?
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be enough.
My goodness. Yeah, and I mean with the Angel deck, it just gains is generally the Angel deck does not have removal like you were saying. You're absolutely right. It's mostly just I'm going to get all of I'm going to gain all the life and I'm going to create a board that is full of 6/6 to 10/10 flyers, by turn 6. So what are you going to do? And it's really difficult to deal with. But man, Mertcan just being patient, finding the right opportunities, and doing a phenomenal job. And I mean, talk about card advantage. Like, holy crap. Every time they cast an aura spell, they draw 3 cards. And Lurrus is pulling aura spells out of their graveyard,
For
so they don't
1
even have to
mana.
cast spells from
Yeah.
their hand. Like,
Oh, all that glitters. GG.
oh no, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you just put that all his glitters, yep, on the Spirit Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And Merkin's about to do some really crazy stuff pretty quickly here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And draw a card. Merkin also has to make sure they don't deck themselves here.
That is a factor, yeah.
And that's a 16-17 casual.
Yep, unblockable, no big deal.
Mm-hmm. So
And you got all the lands in your yard to exile, so whatever.
yeah,
keep
the cards that you had
coming.
to discard. You got to discard
Yep.
6 cards at the end of this turn. That's so ridiculous. And let's see how big this core Spirit Dancer gets, huh? It's gonna be what, 19 power just about here.
Well, so far, but there's another Sentinel's Last in that cartouche is in hand too, so it's just gonna keep on coming.
Yeah, Merkin's declining the draws now.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Yeah. You don't really need that many cards anymore. Oh wow, 24-25. All right, Merkin gonna try to come in for the kill here. Looks like in 1 hit. Can they do it? That is the question. They got a cartouche of knowledge. Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
All right.
Decline. It's 28. They need 7 more power on the battlefield here. Lurrus is also unblockable, right?
Lurrus is not unblockable, but the cartouche lifts it off, and Kikolo does not have any flying blockers.
Yeah, Kikolo sees the writing on the wall. They just know they're, Merkin's about to just gain and go back up to 20, and on top of that, they're about to hit him for literally 30 damage or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Just wow.
And one turn. One turn is all they needed. That was 1 turn.
Yeah. And that was game 1. That was 1 game.
Yeah, it felt like 3 games. I had to keep looking to make sure we weren't in game 3 multiple times. I was like, yeah, this looks like a lot of different storylines in game 1, right? That's what you like to see in the finals. So far,
100%.
I think that game was really close for both players. In all honesty, Kikolo was just like a collected company away from taking over that game, right?
Yeah, in the end, it looked like it was Mercan's game the whole time, but that Kikolo absolutely had a number of times where they just didn't draw. Coco was really the big, would have been the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Had that Ajani been a Coco, totally different game. Completely different game. Or that Bishop of Wings late. That really didn't do anything. You really want Bishop of Wings on turn 2. You really don't care about Bishop of Wings on turn 9. It's just not what you want to see. So. Yeah, there were a little bit of unlucky top decks in the end there. But one of the key differences between these decks is the Aura's deck is just designed to draw so many cards. If its engine can get going, it's just going to draw an obscene number of cards each game. Whereas the Angel deck is designed to just put a ton of power on board really fast and gain so much life that it doesn't care about aggro strategies.
Yeah,
if you're trying to beat face against Angels, it's just not going to work because they have really big blockers and their life total is massive, so they can just take it and not really care. So in this situation, the long grind of your game definitely favored auras, and the fact that the Lurrus was able to go unanswered for so many turns, that was massive. Wow. And looking at Mercan's hand,
his hand looks great. This is kind of what you want. 1-drops, auras. You got some of your 2-drop power cards. Light Pulse is obviously more powerful than Storm Chaser, but Storm Chaser is one of the card draw engines that came out in Capenna for the deck.
Yeah, so being able to throw out Light Paws on 2, Storm Chaser on 3. Actually, I probably would load with the Storm Chaser there because you can play out Light Paws on 3 and cast Sentinel's Eyes on the Storm Chaser and then attack with it. But I'm sure Mertcan has a plan here. Because actually that gives Light Paws an opportunity to grab something potentially pretty sizable and attack as well. So
Oh yeah.
all right. Mertcan knows what they're doing. I need to quit my backseat gaming over here.
Yeah.
All right, so here
Hey,
comes
we're the
Giada.
commentators. It's our job to backseat.
There, exactly. Yeah. All right, so Giada's gonna put a 4/4 Resplendent Angel on the field.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good.
In perspective, now the Drake's looking a little bit rough because I guess, yeah, it'll just be a 3/2, but it can't block the Resplendent Angel.
Right.
More
More lands. You don't love to see that. But let's see. What's Light Paw's gonna go grab here? Yeah, Cartouche Solidarity is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Gives you another threat.
Yep,
Gives you another
absolutely.
body in the battlefield. And next turn, you can actually have your creatures be bigger than the Resplendent Angel.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping on here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think they're gonna probably end up, Voltroning out that Storm Chaser Drake, really putting all the eggs in that basket, at least for now. Mostly just draw as many cards as possible and hopefully hit into some more action.
The question is, does Kikolo have the Collected Company here?
It was nice not having to worry about that for a second, but the moment that pathway showed up, yeah, all of a sudden, that's a good question.
And looks like they're just going straight to combat with the 4 mana up. It's
okay. Yeah, that's
smelling like a Collected Company here.
Mm-hmm. It's a very real possibility. Like Mertcan's just got to take this, right? Losing the Storm Chaser Drake to prevent 4 damage, that's just not worth it.
Yeah, they're not gaining any life back, so you don't really have to block. We know they have a Coco.
Yeah, we're pretty confident of that at this point. Yep. And here, let me actually...
Kind of hard to just pass up 4 mana and do nothing.
Right.
Oh, I'm actually surprised they're witness protecting the Giada here.
Okay. And so actually reporting in from Kikolo's hand, they actually have a Youthful Valkyrie, a March of Otherworldly Light, and that Settle the Wreckage again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if Mertcan overcommits his attack here,
that could be an issue.
Yeah, it could run into some problems, especially considering they're at 14 life now.
Right. And the Resplendent Angel is still here doing his thing. Yeah, so Mertcan is in that situation. Do you play around the Settle? I mean, if I were in Mertcan's position, I probably wouldn't, because the chances of Kikolo having it are fairly low. Chances of them having Collecting Company significantly higher. Which is also an issue that you don't want to attack into, to be fair. So that's the thing. But yeah, if
Okay, gonna get a redraw here. Seems pretty decent. It's gonna get a little bit bigger. It can block.
But yeah, if Mertcan commits to the attack here, they can find themselves in a world of hurt.
Wings isn't bad because it gives something flying.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. There it is. Here comes the Settle the Wreckage. Yep.
Yeah, it goes both their creatures. I mean, they get to recast this Light Paws. Or they have another Drake in their hand they can do if they want to.
Yeah, and getting the lands is helpful. Yeah.
A couple lands means that they can start casting a lot more of their cards, maybe even getting the Luris into their hand to do that.
Yeah.
And we're looking at Light Balls coming down first.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. Whenever you're going up against Luris, you got to be aware of what's in the graveyard and what you're putting in the graveyard. Makes a pretty significant difference.
So, Kikolo, 3 cards left in hand. We know about one of them, right?
Yep, we got a March of Otherworldly Light, a Youthful Valkyrie, and a Pathway.
March is just going to get rid of the Light Paws.
I'd say so, yeah.
I don't see them getting past this turn.
Yeah, no, Light Paws. Yeah, you can't wait around to take out Light Paws.
Okay, Youthful Valkyrie.
Okay, Mertcan down to 10.
Yeah, he's down to 10. I mean, this is getting risky. Of course, Spirit Dancer. Don't think you play that. Oops, sorry about that.
No worries. All right, here comes the Drake.
Okay, yep, gonna get the Sentinel's Eyes out of the graveyard. Probably put it on the core Spirit Dancer.
Okay,
Going
yeah,
for
I
the double
mean,
draw instead.
so usually when you get hit pretty badly with the Settle the Wreckage, you don't have much of a board state the turn after. Mercan's like, nah, I want to do things my way. I'm gonna have all my card draw engines anyway. And that's what we're seeing here. I mean, Light Pause is, you know, back doing their thing. You've got the Storm Chaser Drake and Core Spirit Dancer. I mean, and not to mention, actually, part of that is made possible by all that mana that Settled Wreckage gave, so that's nice. Here comes Light Pause, the opportunity to, you know, the choice is Chump Block, or Kokolo has the opportunity to use the March of Otherworldly Light and get rid of Light Pause here.
Yep.
Which, you
So
know,
it seems really good. The problem is, I mean, Merkin has like 2 other cards that got to kill, right?
exactly, that's the issue.
And the Ceram's about to come down and draw even more cards. It's kind of just... This
That's
Origins
rough.
deck really does draw so many cards, you know?
Absolutely.
Yep, here's the Ceram.
Yeah, and Kokolo's sitting here with removal and like, what do I go after? It's they're all problems. I don't want any of these to be here.
I guess the Flyer or the Spirit Dancer, because the Spirit Dancer can be way bigger than what you have, and the Flyer can block what you
Right.
have as well. Yeah, they're
I
going to
think
go
that
after
makes
the
sense.
Flyer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As now, even if they make the core Spirit Dancer huge, doesn't really matter. You can just
All right.
keep attacking.
And Kikolo just drew the card that we've been talking about this whole match. And here it is.
Main phase, collect
Main
a
phase.
company. Let's see if they can gain a
Boom.
lot of life. Make some angels here. What's it looking like
possible.
so far?
Looking possible.
Oh,
Bishop
they got
and a
the
Regis
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be it right there.
That's looking pretty good.
Ooh, doesn't get it up all the way, but they will at end step because the Resplendent Angel is going to make another one.
Yep.
And it's also, let's see, yeah, it's going to be a 4/4. Yep, so they'll go gains 4 more life. Oh, Heliod's
Holy cow.
Punishment. Wow.
Wow, and that collected company
bad.
just turned things around, and Mercan's now in the same position of looking at the removal going, man, there's so many targets. What do I go after?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
the
I think
main
you have to
difference
go
there
after
is the
the
life.
Righteous Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pumping up the squad.
Right. Yeah, you get the most bang for your buck going after that.
Wow, that was a really good draw too. They can put that on the Resplendent Angel. Now, granted, it's going to be what, like a 3/3 or 2/2 or something like that, but you'd rather have a 2/2 on the ground than a 4/4 flyer that's making more angels.
Absolutely.
Okay. About to find out what's going to happen here. Go get the Staggering Insight.
Okay, that lifelink is really important. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So now they can actually to use that Witness Protection on the Angel. Oh, they got the bounce. Okay, never mind. Yep, bounce it.
Right.
Get that out of the way.
Yep, get the token out of here, sure.
Yep. Pump up the other Spirit Dancer. Makes sense. And draw 2 more cards. Hushbringer's really nuts here in this matchup, in all honesty.
Right.
Wow. Okay, yep, they're going to get a Valor of the Worthy. Pump that up to a 5/5. Witness Protection. None of their cards are, it's probably the Resplendent now that none of their cards have entered those battlefield triggers.
Right. Yeah, I mean the Bishop of Wings does trigger life gain on ETB.
Yeah, I think the Light Pulse also has lifelink, right?
Light Pulse doesn't have lifelink at this point, yes.
So they're going to go back up to 9. This is kind of how Merkin stabilized the last game. They just had life gain and they were able to chip away here and there. I mean, don't get me wrong, 35 life is a lot, but easily doable, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and the main, I mean, it's easy to look at the life totals and think, man, Mertcan is out of this thing. However, if you look at their hands, that tells the exact opposite story. And so it really comes down to if Kikolo is able to close this thing out, hopefully on the next turn, is really what they have to do to make this work. And unfortunately for Kikolo, Mercan has that Winds of Protection in hand, which can go a long way.
Yep, gonna take a few points of damage here, go down to 30, gain some life, draw a card on the other side of the battlefield, and that's all is glitters. And yeah, I think you're definitely playing the Selfless Savior this turn. I guess
Yeah.
most of the Angel deck's removal is exile, so maybe Selfless Savior isn't the greatest thing right now, but
yeah,
still a card.
absolutely.
Okay, going for the Hushbringer instead.
Going for the Hushbringer in case of
makes
Cocos
sense.
or anything like that. Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so I mean they can activate. Actually, they can't because they use the Witness on it. So Merkin's turning the game around. We've seen it before. We might see it again here. Coco coming down. Let's see what
Wow.
that does.
2 Cocos off the top. You love to see it. All
That was
right.
a heck of a draw there.
Yep. Now that Hushbringer is looking mighty fine here because that's some Righteous Valkyries. Yep, all that life gain that Kikola would have had with the double bishops.
And the Righteous Valkyries. Yep, they would have gone up to like 40, 50 life, but
no, yeah, not
they
today.
could not. Yep, yeah, not today. And Valkyrie's going to come in for 3. You don't really care about that because you can just gain some life back on your turn.
Right. Doesn't feel good, but it'll be okay. Yeah.
And now Kikolo does only just have one blocker, so Light Pulse is guaranteed to come in and gain some life as well.
Absolutely. Well, and I think in this situation, you jam that all that glitters on either Light Pause or the Hushbringer. Put it on a Lifelinker. Because that can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Aether Tunnel's pretty sweet, too.
Oh, right. Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're just... the Ganjo is a card.
Yeah, that sure is.
Mertcan's trying to win again in one turn. I guess you're probably going to end up having to put that Ether Tunnel on the Spirit Dancer, like last time.
Yeah.
And here's a Cartouche of Knowledge. Drawing some cards. Another Selfless Savior. And right now, Merkin just has a slew of options here.
Absolutely. My goodness. I mean, when you draw that many cards, it's pretty fantastic. Yeah, I can appreciate the Aether Tunnel on Light Pause. Guarantee get in for some more damage.
And it's also like 14
right.
14 life.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And another Witness Protection, just for good measure. Holy cow. Yeah, and the other Resplendent Angel, sure. My goodness.
Okay.
Now, you may be wondering why Mercan is declining the Light Pause trigger, and the reason is because there are no more cards to fetch up.
Yeah, they ran out of cards to search for, which is kind of hilarious, actually.
Right?
And they got him down to 6. I mean, Kikolo's down to 1 turn to find an answer to this mayhem that occurred. One, they have to find an answer to the cards that are killing them, and then they have to find an answer to the card that's stopping them from playing their advantage, right? What their deck's supposed to do. So, in all honesty, it's looking like Merkin's going to take this down. I mean, today it really looked like it was Merkin's day. Undefeated in the Swiss, and it's looking like they're going to be undefeated here in the top 8 as well. So,
wow.
There it is right there. Congratulations to Merkin for taking it down this weekend. Slice a historic event. Congratulations with Auras.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Merkin.
Wow, looks like Merkin really dominated this event today, going undefeated all the way home, taking it down with the Zorius Auras. Congrats, Merkin. Definitely did a great job in that event. And I want to thank Hamhocks for doing commentary with myself. I think we did a pretty awesome job. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you made it this far into the video, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, the notification icon, leave a comment, and like the video. Be greatly appreciated. And I hope that you stay cheesy.